With John Kerry giving Palestine away again, or what's left of it at least. The good news, Gary, is that there are many heroes still amongst the Palestinian people, and heroes yet unborn. And the Palestinian people will never agree to their rights being sold or signed away by anybody. Gary, thanks for the call. Osman's in London on the same subject as well as Afghanistan. Osman, welcome.
Thank you, George. Good to talk to you today.
And you, sir. Go ahead.
And I wish you well all the time, because great people like you needs to get more George Galloway in this life who will speak for the voiceless people all the time, George. God bless you.
Thank you, bro.
And I also like to appreciate the work of your technicians in the studio.
They're wonderful. We have a wonderful team here at Press TV, by the grace of God.
Okay. Now, I would like to talk about the Israeli issue concerning the Nakba. You know, the Palestinians, first of all, they have to put aside the differences. I would like to appeal to Mr. Michel and Ismail Haniyeh to put aside everything and look up to what Yasser Arafat left behind, the Fatah leader, and then come together to fight for the liberation of the Palestinians from the Zionist regime.
There needs to be one Palestinian national movement, one PLO, one address, one political line. And that line has to be the defense of the right of return of the Palestinian people to their land and their homes.
And then also the Palestinian leaders, not only about Mr. Barghouti in the prisons. There is thousands of Palestinians in the prisons of the Israeli jails. I would like to ask the international community to look up to this issue, because when they're talking about international law, why is it that some people have been infringed their human rights and they are not taking them to court, and then tonight they still continue talking about international law where others have been infringed? And if it happens to anybody in the Western country, that is the time they'll start to, using the aggressive rhetorics for war, because they are not respecting human rights. So in this juncture, I would like to urge all Palestinians to stand firm, as Arafat was doing during his heydays, and then forge together and then have their land back.
Hallelujah.
From this region.
Hallelujah. Osman, an outstanding call. Don't be a stranger. Stay in touch with us here at Comment on Press TV, still the voice of the voiceless. As I was saying, we are talking about the Afghan situation, where it's my case that these 3 young Scottish soldiers who died yesterday died for nothing. And they were sent to their deaths by politicians in the British Parliament who are an ironclad consensus in defence of the war that they began. Ed Miliband could only send out some platitudinous condolences for 3 young soldiers whose name he has, I assure you, already forgotten. 3 young soldiers whose parents will never forget them, whose communities from which they sprung and from which they were conscripted, no doubt, by unemployment and poverty and misery and hopelessness in the post-industrial parts of the United Kingdom. For many of these young men, the military is actually the only place where any kind of job or career is possible. And now they're dead, like 441 before them, bringing 444 the number of dead British soldiers. And of course, thousands have been wounded. Many more have been damaged. Many of them will end up in Britain's prison system. Many of them will end up on the streets, homeless, begging of people. Because of course, once David Cameron has squeezed the last usefulness out of them as foreign soldiers, well, they can go hang, so far as he's concerned. Let's squeeze in Zachary from Aberdeen on Israel. Go ahead, Zachariah.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. George Galloway.
Go on, sir.
Regarding earlier, you said that the Palestinians, they should have unity in their voice and also one
address.
One object.
Yeah.
And that is to right of the return.
Yeah.
And earlier you said that the Zionists, they wiped out the Palestinian country.
No, they didn't wipe it out. They wiped it off the map.
Yeah.
It still exists,
they
of
wiped
course.
out from the map.
Yeah.
But this is the right of the Palestinians to wipe out Israel from the map, and total land of the Palestine is belong to Palestinians. Is not only right to return. No Zionists have a right to exist in Palestine. And
No, I don't agree with that. Jews,
This is human
Jews.
right.
Well, let me deal with the point that you have made. Jews have always lived in Palestine. Jews have a right to live in Palestine. They just don't have the right to live in somebody else's house, on somebody else's land, from which they not only have not paid the owner for the house and the land, but may have been a party to the driving out of the land of the owner of the house, and that person's